it's time to review the best arc in Wings of Fire, which is the third arc. And it starts with Book 11, The Lost Continent, and everyone's always like, oh, Blue's so boring. This book is so boring. How do I even get into this book? I'm like 40 pages in and nothing's happened. Oh my god, this book is so boring. And come on. You can push through this since you've read the first book of Wings of Fire, and they were in that cave for, I don't know, it was like 20, not 20 chapters, it was some, they were in that cave for a long time, and you managed to push through that even though it was a little boring. So you can push through some of this, and I think the world building was done really seamlessly, so it isn't even that boring. I think, don't all the Hive Wings get brainwashed, like, pretty early on in the book, too? This book is not boring. And I've noticed that some people say, oh, the way that Pantolin society works is kind of like how this society works, with how, like America racial systems, like Hive Wings represented the white people, Silk Wings represented black people, and then Leaf Wings represented Native American people. You know how they, like, completely erase the culture of Leaf Wings and then, like, deny them existence, and just because they didn't believe in their religion. I also need to talk about the Book of Clearsight, because I think that was one of the smartest writing devices of all time. Tui made an excellent decision in doing that, because I know there's, like, a ton of people who use religion to sort of, like, you know, use it to discriminate against people and use it to hate people. And okay, Clearsight, she didn't exactly say stuff like Bible commandments, like this is how you must live, but she could see the future, so she wrote down everything that she saw in the future. And then, okay, I mean, if you've read the book, you know what I'm talking about, but Wasp, it doesn't say anything about the present, but she keeps the book, and then she's like, you know, I could take over all the tribes with this. I could tell them that the Book of Clearsight tells me to take over the tribe, so you must listen to me, because that's what Clearsight wants. And I feel like that was, like, how colonization worked a really long time ago. Like, they were like, if you don't believe in this religion, we're just going to kill you all. We're just going to kill everyone. That's what they did to the Leaf Wings, because the Leaf Wings were like, no, show me the book if it really says that taking over all the tribes is best. And then Wasp was like, what? No, I'm not doing that. Just believe me, or I'll kill you. It turns out they actually didn't kill them all. You really can't erase an entire culture like that. And it was pretty jarring to find out that the Leaf Wings still exist. Although you could, like, think it in your mind. You're like, oh, Leaf Wings probably still exists if they're talked about this much. But then you weren't just expecting them to show up in the greenhouse like that. That was insane. Also, I wanted to mention, probably a ton of people thought this too, but Silkwings aren't born with wings, and Blue's name is Blue. So if you really look at him, he's not all that blue. He's more like green and purple. He's got some blue, but he's not, like, fully blue. He's not blue enough to be named Blue. But then his wings sprout, and they are blue. So I wonder if you can, like, tell what a Silkwing's wings are going to be by looking at their wing buds, or if there's, like, some way to know, because maybe it's just a really lucky coincidence that Blue was named Blue and then got blue wings. Like, if you didn't know what the color of the wings were going to be before he grew them, and then he didn't grow blue wings, that would be kind of weird. I feel like there's some way to know what the color wings are going to be. Maybe the wing buds are a little bit blue. Who knows? Also see a lot of people compare Blue to Emmett from the Lego Movie, and I think that's really funny because that is 100% true. And, could I compare Boss to President Business? I don't know if I can. Gosh, I love that movie. And then Luna is kind of like Wild Style, although she's not Blue's girlfriend. She is definitely, like, the rebellious, loud, crazy. Okay, I guess Wild Style wasn't really loud and crazy, but she was rebellious, and Luna is, like, the same. Maybe this book was inspired by the Lego Movie, you never know. Next is book 12, The Hive Queen. And I see so many people, way too many people on Discord, on the Wings of Fire Discord specifically, say, I don't remember what happened in this book. It might be maybe the shortest book in the series. It looks like it when I look at the books on my shelf, and this book just looks the shortest. But a lot of things happened. There may have been a lot of time sitting in a water tower. Maybe that only lasted for like 1 or 2 chapters, I don't know. I just remember the water tower. And, okay, so what I remember, they go to the glitter bazaar, and they wear disguises, and then look for the chrysalis, or the chrysalis, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm just gonna say chrysalis, because that's how they pronounce it in Solar Balls. So they look for the chrysalis, and then they do find them, but they find out that it's only like 3 dragons who just argue in a library all night. So, oh, what happens? I'm trying to remember. I don't remember what happens after that specifically, but I remember Lady Scarab played a big part in, like, how Cricket's egg was hidden from Wasp so it wasn't injected, so she didn't have the mind control, and the egg was hidden because Katey was secretly Cricket's mom and not her sister. That was totally unexpected. I was trying to think of reasons why Cricket didn't have that mind control, and then the Silkwing Hivewing hybrid made sense to me, but she really didn't look like a hybrid. Nothing about her looks like a hybrid. She even has the black scales, so she can't really be a hybrid. Maybe you can be a hybrid with black scales. Anyway, I was trying to think of all these reasons, and then Katey being Cricket's mom never really occurred to me. Hold on, maybe I do forget some of this book. I think I remember the most important parts, though. Blicket is really cute. Blue X Cricket, obviously. I think they're, like, one of the cutest couples, because, like, Cricket's always yapping about some scientific discovery she's made, or some question she wants to ask about the world, and then Blue just, like, listens to her so lovingly. It's so adorable. It's so adorable. Cricket, I adore Cricket. Cricket kind of reminds me of my mom, because she talks a lot. But Cricket's not as annoying. Cricket's not as annoying as my mom. I don't know if she can hear me, but who knows. What else do I have to say? Oh yeah, so the Katey being her mom thing happens. So Cricket, she sneaks into Wasp's hatchery, the entire Hivewing hatchery, and she sees that Wasp injects the eggs with her tail to put them under her mind control, which is the other mind. And then think. Oh, she steals Bumblebee. She steals an orphan for some reason. She steals an orphan. That's pretty funny. But it's a good thing. It's a good thing because Bumblebee, she wasn't injected yet fully. I think you have to be injected twice in order to be mind controlled, but Bumblebee was only injected once, so she wasn't mind controlled. Which was good. I was scared she was going to be at just, like, some random point in the stories after it. I was like, oh god, what if she just becomes mind controlled? Or, like, even half mind controlled is, like, just as bad. Next, book 13, The Poison Jungle. This book inspired me a lot because there was this conversation between Sundew and Willow, and then Willow was like, oh, I feel so sad by everything. I don't want to yell at anyone. And then Sundew was like, don't you want to be angry? You don't get anything done if you're sad. You get things done with you're angry, because being angry makes you want to do something. And I was like, huh, maybe I should yell at people more. Maybe I should get more angry. I'm not exactly an angry person. My friend was like, I've never seen you that angry. I don't really see you snap at anyone. And I just don't have the heart to snap at anyone, really. If I try to snap at someone and insult them a lot and tell them off, I don't think I could. I think I would probably stutter a lot and then just end up bursting into tears. But anyway, that has nothing to do with the book that I'm talking about. I love Sundew's rage. I was really jealous of her and at the beginning of the book where she's all mad and her rage fuels her. I was like, whoa, she's so cool. I don't know, maybe I had a crush on her, I don't know. I love the way she yells at everyone, including Bumblebee. She's like, Bumblebee, this is a stealth mission. we need to we need to be quiet. We need to be stealthy. And then Bumblebee's like, because she's a baby. She's a little baby, and Sundu's yelling at her about stealth missions. That part was adorable. I like the part where she gets... Wait, okay, actually, a lot of this book is, I think, a rather large portion, not a majority of the book, but like a bigger than necessary portion of this book was them walking through the forest. And, you know, Sundu even gets eaten by a real Sundu. What else did I have to say? Oh my gosh. This part, the part in this book really turned the whole series around. Hawthorne, and then you find out that, you know, the other mind, and it's controlling Wasp, too. Wasp is also a puppet of the other mind. And some people say, oh, well, Wasp was the villain, and she should have got more attention. She should have gotten, like, she should have been the main villain. She should have stayed the main villain through the rest of the arc. And, to a point, I agree. But I think the other mind is, like, more of the main culprit here, because the other mind controls things. So maybe while you're under its control, maybe you also want to control things, especially if Wasp had, like, the modified version of the other mind, because that would make Wasp want to control everything. Because when you're the plant, okay, the thing about the plant is that it wants to grow and spread as much as it can. So maybe being on the modified version of the other mind makes you want to, like, spread your seed. That sounds really inappropriate, but, like, you want to get as much control as possible. Not spread your seed. That sounds really weird. Anyway, I was, like, left in shock when I finished this story. I was like, what? I wasn't expecting this. Oh, and this book kind of taught me about what a lesbian relationship was. When I first read this, I didn't really have a clear grasp on LGBTQ or, like, gay, lesbian, bisexual people. I didn't really even understand couples. I was really young. I didn't have any romantic love for anyone. I didn't know that my mom and dad loved each other in, like, a romantic way. I just thought they were, like, really good friends. I thought that's how couples worked. I was like, why would a girl want to be with a boy? I don't know, boys are disgusting. And then I read this book and I was like, oh, okay. So they love each other romantically, and, like, I had, like, a little bit of a sense of what romantic love was, but I didn't, like, really fully understand it. And I was like, oh, okay, so women can love each other too. Maybe I should do that. That sounds really nice. But that was also when my mom was saying stuff to me like, oh, in Alabama you can marry your cousin. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can marry my cousin Grace. I don't know. I was saying pretty messed up things that I didn't realize were messed up, because I didn't really understand what love was. And I am not a lesbian, but I do know I can date women. I would date a woman. I've never dated any woman. I've only had one relationship. But anyway, this book did teach me that there are different types of relationships that I didn't know about. So that really opened my eyes to other kinds of experiences, I guess. That was a big tangent. I wonder who this dragon is on the back. I just noticed. Maybe it's Nettle. She looks really angry. Okay, well, that's my review on book 13. And here is The Dangerous Gift. Best cover art, by the way. I adore it. It's really unlike the first arc's cover art, you know, how all the dragons have their mouth open, roaring like, ah. I think it's really stupid. But here, it's actually beautiful, not, like, angry. It's gorgeous. And, okay, if you're reading this book for the first time, I need you to be patient. I know Snowfall is this bigoted, racist jerk. At the beginning of the book, she's yelling at everyone. She's yelling at herself. She hates herself. And I feel so bad for her. She clearly has some kind of mental health condition. You know what I mean? I think she has ADHD or something like that. Maybe OCD. I don't know. I'm not educated on neurodivergent stuff like that. I don't have ADHD. And okay, so she's so racist. She's terrible at the beginning of the book. Oh my gosh, I feel so weird saying this, but it's kind of like how Trump was like, we need to build a wall. Snowfall was like, we need to build a wall to keep every dragon out. And if a dragon crosses that wall, the wall will shoot them with ice spears until it kills them. And I was like, oh, it sounds kind of like another person. Oh, that's bad. But the character development is so beautiful. Just like the cover, just like Snowfall. Snowfall's very beautiful. She unlearns her bigotry. She wears a crown that's enchanted to make her racist, so that's another thing. She keeps getting these random visions from an opal ring that she can't get off her talon. And she's seeing all these things, and she's like, oh, I kind of feel bad for these dragons that they flew across the entire ocean of my kingdom and then I didn't offer them anything. I just told them to go away and go back to their own kingdom with their own problems. That's not nice of me. And this book really teaches you empathy because, well, Blue was, like, very empathetic too. But this book, like, you really are going into another person's shoes. You do have to, like, realize that other people have lives, other people have problems, other people have shit to deal with too, not just you. Other people, like, exist and have their own minds and own feelings, and it's better to uplift people, make them happier, don't just bully people. It's this sounds so obvious. This lesson is taught in, like, all the kids' books, but this one, I feel like it does it so well because the main character, you are reading them from the perspective of the bigot. I don't think a lot of kids' stories are like that, where you're reading as the villain. She's not a villain. She grew up in a place where she had to be, well, she grew up in a racist home, okay? That's what I mean. All the Ice Wings hated Night Wings and every other tribe. They wanted dragons to stay out forever. They didn't want to deal with their problems. Right, wasn't Queen Glacier like that? I don't even know. Oh my gosh, and the Jerboa scene. The Jerboa scene, I know I said that the Moon Winter scene in the rainforest was, like, my favorite scene, but the Jerboa scene might also be my favorite scene in all of Wings of Fire. Because, okay, I remember reading this. It was, like, standardized testing, so I had a lot of free time. And I was reading the Jerboa scene, and I was, like, in a different world while I was reading that. I was, like, so into it. I cannot peel my eyes away. I wasn't just reading a book. I was in the world of that book for a second. I was imagining it so bad, and then when I ended the chapter and I look up from the book, I'm like, wow, I need to bring myself back to Earth for a second and, like, think about that. And especially when Jerboa the First is like, I've been keeping you alive for 11 centuries, and I've just been memory wiping you a bunch of times to change your personality, make you more agreeable, make you a little more cuter, make you more smaller, make you the perfect daughter. And I was like, oh, that's terrible. Oh, man. And then Jerboa the First is like, oh, I'm such a great mom. I have the perfect daughter. I'm such a great mom. No, you're not a good mother. And then she breaks animus magic. And I love how Jerboa the Third has, like, she doesn't use Google or ChatGPT. She enchanted, what was it, like a piece of paper to tell her to answer all of her questions. The funniest part was, like, when she asked the piece of paper, how will I die? No, not how will I die. When will I die? When will I die? And the piece of paper is like, when you stop living. That was really funny. And it was also kind of scary. Now, this might be the most controversial book in the whole series. People are like, oh, this book is so sloppy. It was so disappointing. how did the other mind work? It was so confusing. This book was so boring. How it was just a history lesson. I'm like, no. You're wrong. I'm correct. My opinion's correct. Obviously not. You can have your own opinion, but I am crazy about this book. This is my favorite book in the series. Luna, I don't know. I feel like I related to Luna a lot because she's like, oh, I just have to keep smiling and be happy for everyone, because if I'm sad, that'll make other people sad, and then they have to deal with my problems, because if I vent to them, then they have to deal with that. It's like, I don't want to trauma dump on anyone. Oh my gosh, okay, wait. Okay, I'm sorry to go off topic for a second, but I also saw a lot of people complaining that there were like all caps, a lot of all cap sentences in The Dangerous Gift. I have to say to that, Snowfall is a very stressed out child who's queen of a whole tribe now, dealing with a bunch of dragons from another continent. So of course she's gonna use all caps a little bit. She's just pretty stressed out. She's dealing with some mental problems. She's just a little different. Just let her be different, okay? Let her be a queen. Okay, back to this book. Not sloppy. I feel like this... I don't know what people think is exactly sloppy about it, because I feel like it was written the best it could be written. You know how... Okay, but it was written great, but if you get confused on a paragraph, and then you're like, I don't really understand what that meant, but I'll just keep reading instead. No. You go back to that paragraph and then you read it until you understand it. Because you really need to understand how Freedom's mind spaces and how she can change the environments, how there's like two worlds at the same time. There's like the real world where no one is moving, everyone is under the other mind's control, no one's moving. I mean, Luna can move like a little bit if she really concentrates, but for the most part, no one's really moving. And then there's the mind space, where Freedom can move and talk to you. Cottonmouth can also move and talk. Luna can move and talk. But it's not real, it's just in their heads, and they're communicating through the other mind. And then since Freedom is like intertwined with the other mind, she can choose mind spaces to take you to. Like, she can change the environment. Like, let's say this room is a mind space. She can turn it into something completely different. Like, she can just make us on the beach or something. And then also, Freedom, she doesn't really control anyone, but Cottonmouth does. Cottonmouth, okay, if someone is being controlled by Cottonmouth, their eyes are the same, their voice is the same. They will act the same, but they are being controlled by Cottonmouth. And then if you're in the mind space and you're seeing the dragon being controlled by Cottonmouth, you will just see Cottonmouth. But in the real world, you will see the dragon just like acting normal, but saying things that Cottonmouth is making him saying, and doing things that Cottonmouth is making him do. This sounds really complicated, but if you think about it, it's a really cool concept. And then, hold on, there was something else I want to say. Oh yeah, but if Wasp is using the other mind to control her own tribe, their eyes will be white and their voice will be different. It's because Wasp is using a modified version of the other mind. And she can only control high wings, I think. So then there's that, and then there's also like the past that you really need to know. Like the Scorching. You've been wondering about the Scorching the whole series, and now you get to learn about the Scorching, which is the humans stealing dragon eggs and forcing them to do slave labor, and then the dragons get mad and fight back. Freedom, unfortunately, was part of the Scorching, and she was intertwined with the other mind and stuck in the other mind with Cottonmouth for 5,000 years, dealing with so much emotional trauma from him, not able to escape, not able to make other friends. And I felt so bad for Freedom. Freedom is awesome. She's like bratty. She's so like bratty and bitchy, but in like a cool way, like, bitch, I don't give a fuck, that kind of stuff. Oh, that stuff is cool. Freedom is so cool. Freedom is so cool. I love her. She's my favorite character in Wings of Fire. I think she's my Oshi. She's my Oshi. She's my fiction kin. Whatever words people use nowadays. I draw a lot of art of her. I look at a lot of art of her. Oh my gosh, she's like the perfect character. She's so amazing. I cannot talk about how I love Freedom enough, but I need to get on with how I was reviewing the book. Okay, so you see, Freedom, she dealt with all this emotional trauma, so she's always like, I don't care. Friends are disgusting. I don't need friends. Friends are weird. Hugging is weird. Having a boyfriend or a girlfriend is so weird. How do you guys experience that? That's disgusting. That's so gross. she was like that. And then they had Luna and Dusky. I love Dusky, by the way. Shout out to Dusky. They were like trying to trying to befriend Freedom, which took a long process. I wasn't picking my nose. I was scratching it, by the way. My nose was itchy. I'm sorry. Right here, it was itchy. And so Freedom and Dusky, they're trying to befriend Freedom. And then Dusky hugs Freedom. And Freedom's like, okay, this isn't so bad, actually. If I could be alive, because Freedom's not actually alive. Freedom is just like some spirit entwined with the other mind. But if Freedom was alive, she was like, maybe I would hug my friend. Maybe I would have friends if I was alive. I was like, oh my gosh. I think Freedom's character development might rival Snowfall's because of how good it is written. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Oh my gosh, the power of friendship. And then Freedom starts to feel empathy for all of the dragons that are being controlled and how Cottonmouth's trying to take over the world. And she's like, you know what? I hate Cottonmouth. So if we kill the other mind, we could kill Cottonmouth, but it might also kill me. But who cares if I die? If I die, then everyone is saved. And then Freedom kills herself, or she gets someone to kill her for her, which I guess is kind of like suicide, maybe. It's like if someone is in hospice and then they're like, pull the plug. Please, 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 pull the plug. Like, isn't that kind of a form of suicide? I don't know. Yeah, I think it's suicide if it's like helped suicide. Like, you can't perform suicide on your own, so you ask someone else to perform it for you, to kill you as a request. It's a really dark topic. but it is part of the story. So Freedom dies, the world is saved, and then there's the Leaf Silk Kingdom that comes out of that. And it's like the Leaf Wings and the Silk Wings merge together. I don't know what is going on with the Hivewing tribe because Wasp she's like in jail or something. She's in jail, yeah, because stuff happens in book 16 with Wasp at the end of the book. But I'm not going to spoil it here in case you haven't read that book yet. But I will make a video about it. So, yeah, I don't know what's happening with the Hivewings. I don't know if they have a new queen or something, or if the Leaf Silk Kingdom also, like, encompasses Hivewings. I don't know. They could merge all the tribes, really. And then instead of a Silkwing Queen, there is, like, this sort of house of representatives of, like, 200 Silkwings. But the thing is, they're Silkwings, so they're pacifists, and they can't argue about anything. They're so nice and polite, and then no one gets their way because everyone's like, no, do it your way, do it your way. They're all too nice to each other. And that's pretty bad for the Leaf Silk Kingdom. They used it as sort of a joke, but it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I don't think their Leaf Silk Kingdom is gonna fall if the Hivewings get more power, because the Hivewings are still like a little mad about their queen going away. Oh, I'm tired. Hold on, I'm thinking. Oh, at the end of the book, Willow and Sundew are together, and then Willow's like, Sundew, honey, have you eaten anything today? And then Sundew's like, yeah, I ate. Stop asking me that. And then Willow's like, I don't think a handful of cashews counts as eating for today. And I was like, yeah, you tell her. You go, girl. And then, oh yeah, there's also a quote that, like, really makes me question Cricket's morality. someone asked her, I think it was Luna. Luna asked Cricket, if you had to decide between saving all of the hive wings and saving Blue, which one would you pick? And then Cricket was like, oh, Blue. No hesitation, without a heartbeat, I would pick Blue. And I'm like, really? Really? The hive wings, there's probably around like hundreds of hive wings, maybe, I'd say maybe 400, just as an example. There's probably 400 hive wings, and then you would save Blue over all of the hive wings? But like, maybe she can say that, because I don't think she wasn't very fond of hive wings. She didn't like what they were doing to silk wings. But like, if she was with Blue, then all the hive wings die. I don't know, I feel like that was a really moral dilemma that she needed to think about, but she answered the question too quickly, and I was like, that's really interesting. I wasn't expecting her to say something like that. I expected her to say, oh, I don't know, that's such a hard choice, but she was like, no, Blue. I was like, Jesus, okay, girl. But to end off with this video, I want to say, I am so excited for the graphic novel versions of Arc 3. Because as I was reading, I was sort of imagining them like their elegant selves, like they are here on the cover. But Mike Holmes' style is a lot different from how they're drawn on the cover, from Joy Ang's style of dragons. So that, and I'm also really interested to see how the hives are drawn, how the other mine part was drawn, like, you know, when they're in the abyss. I want to see how that's drawn. I want to see Sky. I want to see Silkwings. I want to see them all. I'm so excited because this arc was like sort of hard to imagine. Like hives, these hives better be really big. These hives, and then there's like silk webs and I don't know, a lot goes on. It's a lot of stuff that's like really hard to imagine, but like once it's drawn out for me, I'm like, oh yeah, of course that's how it is. And then I'll never read the books the same again because that's what I'll be imagining. I'll be imagining the graphic novel version in my mind. That's how I read the other books with the graphic novel versions. Oh man, I'm so excited. And I'm so excited for book 15 to be in graphic novel form, especially because Freedom's in it. Oh man, oh my gosh, that part is going to be cool as fuck. I'll be in my my 20s when that book comes out. But I will still be the first in line. I don't think I'll ever lose my passion for Wings of Fire because I just keep rereading the series. I'm planning to do another reread of the series when I'm in school. When school starts, I think that's like in September. So I'll do a reread. And usually I read the books like aloud to myself, kind of. I mean, that helps me really understand it better. Because when I'm reading silently... Sorry. I'm reading the book silently, I sort of just like, I think I read too fast silently. So I end up sometimes skimming and not understanding, but if I read aloud, I like reading aloud anyway. It helps with my talking. It helps me not stutter as much. I just like it. I just like to read aloud sometimes. But I'm planning to like actually bring the book to school, so I'm obviously not going to read it aloud. That would be really weird. And then during study hall, or if I have lunch with no friends again, I'll be really fed up if that happens again. I plan to just read the book to myself. Just read it in like study hall or lunch or on the bus. Although I don't know if I'm gonna read it on the bus because it's really dark in the morning. I go to school when it's still dark. So maybe I won't be able to see. I could read it in the afternoon or something, but I don't want to get car sick or bus sick or whatever the term is. I'm excited to do that. I bought these little magnetic clips that like clip onto the page, sort of like a bookmark kind of way. Like, okay, like this is a page, and then the bookmark like clips on top because it's a magnet. But it's Pusheen. It's so cute. I'm excited to use it. And I bought a pack from Barnes & Noble, like Barnes & Noble? I said Barnes & Noble. Okay, hold on, I need to restart that. I bought a pack of Pusheen magnetic bookmark clips from Barnes & Noble, and there were like 6 of them in one pack, so I could be reading like 6 books at once. I'm not going to read 6 Wings of Fire books at once. I'll be reading like 1. Obviously, I'll be reading one at a time, but I do have some other books that I must read. Like, for example, I have to read Catcher in the Rye. I have a Pusheen bookmark in there already. Here, let me show you. She's wearing glasses and drinking some tea. I'm really passionate about these bookmarks, but I hate Catcher in the Rye. So at least the Pusheen bookmark makes it a little bit funner. I have to read that. Whoops. That's my summer reading book, and then this is my other summer reading book. So I'll probably be reading a lot of books in school. So lucky that I have 6 bookmarks. That's more than enough. I'll probably be using like 4 at the most. Oh yeah, I'm also reading another book right now too. It's from Phoebe and Her Unicorn. I'm still reading that series. We're on like the 23rd book now. That was a little tangent. That was not important to Wings of Fire at all, but I just like talking.